the emotional state of gratitude is, and the science shows this, it's like what it does for your nervous system and the way you function and your overall health and ability to have energy and your perspective on life is insane. Term it as a performance hack or insight. If you learn to access the emotional state of gratitude, it can be a game changer in every aspect of your life, whether it's to do with your career, sports, with your relationships, anything.
Welcome to the Legacy Collective podcast. I'm Brendan Hopp from School Fun Run, and today I'm talking to big wave surfer Mark Mathews about gratitude and how to overcome fear to live the best possible life you can.
Initially, when I was young, like first learning to surf and the first 5 years of surfing, I was probably the most scared kid out of my friendship circle, like in the ocean. I wasn't like natural kind of daredevil.
Yeah, sure.
So I never really initially had a focus of becoming a big wave surfer.
Yeah. Did you want to be a professional surfer?
Yeah, I loved surfing.
Yeah.
And I dreamt of being a professional surfer like my whole childhood. Like that was my goal. It was about when I was probably, I think 18, 19, had finished school. I was working in a bar down in Circular Quay for probably a year, and it was at that kind of inflection point where if I didn't get a big sponsorship maybe that year, then my chances of getting this career were finished. I was going to have to give it a miss and go back and study and look for a different career opportunity. And I just randomly get an invite to surf a wave off Tasmania. And at the time, this wave off Tasmania, there was like rumors going around the surf industry of how crazy this wave was. And at the time I was like, I didn't want to go and surf it because like I said, I wasn't like desperate to be a big wave surfer. But I kind of had no choice. I was like, it was the only time I'd ever actually been invited by a surf magazine, it was Track Surf magazine, to go and like on a photo shoot trip for the magazine. And in the end we turned up and it was insane, the waves, and it was so far beyond what I had surfed before. But the whole like scenario, for a few different reasons, like I was extra motivated to do well on this trip and possibly get a career.
Because it was kind of like the last chance saloon.
Last chance, and I had this, I was living with my mum at the time, my parents had split and like my mum was really sick at that point. And it was like in my head, she wasn't going to be able to work again. So I just had this extra motivation to like get this career kickstarted. So I ended up surfing like some of the biggest barreling waves on the planet at that moment. And then the photos of the trip went all around the surf industry. And off the back of that, I got my first big surfing sponsorship. And basically in the contract, it was like, we don't want you to do surf competitions. We want you to do what you just did and just keep doing that. And that was my career. And that was where I was like, okay, this is my career, but I got to figure out how to deal with all this fear, nerves and stress to be able to go out and surf these massive waves, because it didn't really come naturally to me. And it just took time from there to basically build up the skills and the knowledge and the understanding, get myself in a condition where I could deal with those waves. And then slowly as it progressed, I just started to fall in love with it just because I got better at it and more confident. And then it's like that real fear and apprehension kind of switches and it turns into more excitement. Like you're capable and ready to take it on. And I just fell in love with the sport and I just ran from it with a...
That's amazing. There's so much to unpack in that story, but can I just go way back to when you were at school and you wanted to be a professional surfer, not a big wave surfer, just a pro surfer. And you're telling, I'm assuming, family and friends, when people say, what do you want to do when you leave school? You're saying you want to be a surfer, I'm guessing. And were people supportive of that, or was it a bit like saying I want to be a rock star?
Well, actually, when I was really young, I wanted to be a doctor. My dad was a surgeon.
Yeah,
so
right,
I was like, he was my hero.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
And I wanted to be a doctor.
Okay.
And I was surfing good at the time, but I remember him just being like, mate, I think you should stick to surfing. It was his way of telling me, like, probably wasn't smart enough to get the 98
You're not taking over
in the HSC
business,
and make it in medical school. But so that one definitely helped. But my dad loved surfing. Like, he kind of... he stopped surfing to study medicine and become a doctor, and then he took it back up when I was old enough to surf and started surfing again. And then my mum would always come out and ride a bodyboard, and my sister would come out. So like all of us were in the water surfing all the time.
So you had support for your
fully,
dream.
Yeah. I would take, and I don't know, this is a great thing for a school podcast, but I would take Monday, like going through school year 10, 11, 12, I would take every Monday, every Friday off and surf, but the only reason I was able to do that, and my parents allowed me and the schools allowed me, I don't know if they still would allow, but I always kept my grades good and high. I worked hard so that I could have the days off and surf. So they allowed me to do it because they kind of trusted me,
I think there's some schools like maybe Palm Beach, Currumbin on the Gold Coast where surfing is part of the curriculum.
I think there are a few now.
Yeah, I think there are. I'm not sure if that's 100% true, but that's what I've heard.
There are a few. My daughter is actually a really good skateboarder, and she is looking at possibly going to an academy in Currumbin, and they do half-day school, half-day skateboarding.
Yeah, school is such a different place these days. It's amazing. Okay, so you were there, you decided this is going to be my career, I'm going to do big wave surfing, but you had to come to terms with the fear and the adrenaline of doing that. I guess with big wave surfing, there's one thing that can go right and everything else is wrong, right? Would that be a fair assessment of big wave surfing?
Yeah, there's plenty to be scared of.
Yeah.
I mean, the main one is drowning. That's the first big one that you got to come to terms with and prepare yourself for. The others are just like impact injuries from the violence from the wave, so you can hurt yourself, dislocated shoulders, knee injuries. Yeah. And the worst is basically hitting a reef. Like if you're surfing a wave that's big and breaks over a shallow reef, you hit the rocks. That's the other bad version. So and then of course it's sharky water. Like there's a whole bunch of different factors that you kind of got to get used to and manage all that fear. Yeah.
And it's the sort of thing where, and I'm not a surfer, so like if this is wrong, obviously just say that's not right. But I'm thinking that the deeper you sit in the barrel, the more successful that wave ride is, but also the danger has to be increased the further back into the wave you go. Is that fair enough?
And 1 or 2 feet difference in the line that you take, the deeper you are in the barrel is like make or break. Like that's like the ride of your life.
Yeah.
And you're winning like big wave awards and all kinds of things, or it's like the worst wipeout you're going to get, you know, like, and that can be 2 foot, 2 foot difference.
So there's one thing that can go right, and even that one thing is still jeopardized by the fact that like there's always that greedy bit of you that probably wants to go deeper.
Yeah.
And then you've got to realize that, oh no, I got to get out of this.
Yeah. And there's so many motivating factors for you to push the limits. Like it's like financial success from your sponsors, like and the content that you create, like pushing the limits, trying to get the biggest wave in the deepest barrel. But then on top of that, like the feeling of making a wave there's a moment where you don't think you're going to make that wave and then you do, like that's as addictive as it gets in the sport of surfing. Like that's the ultimate. It's like, I'm not going to make it. And then, oh my God, I just made it. You know, like it's wild. It's so addictive.
And is there a moment in your career where you think, like when you're in the barrel of the wave, do you consciously think about going back further, or are you just riding the wave? Like I've got to think, like if it was me, I'd be so full of adrenaline, the whole thing would be a blur. It wouldn't be a conscious decision as to where I am, and it'd be lucky if I got out. Whereas you listen to people talk about great sportsmen and time seems to stand still, where they're able to analyse all the things, all the variables, and have time to react. and they actually think it through. So like when you're in the wave, are you consciously thinking about things, and does there seem to be more time than there would be if you were just watching from the beach?
For sure. It depends on the wave, because some waves have a little bit longer barrel than another, and you only need that extra 1 or 2 seconds for that thought to pop into your head, and you can make a conscious decision to slow down and get deeper in the barrel. Or as you're dropping in, you're so like in tune and in focus with exactly what's going on in that moment, like within your peripherals, but you still do consciously think about your positioning. But then it's the balance between consciously thinking that I'm going to take this direction, but at the same time you're constantly reacting to the way the wave's moving. So it's flipping in and out of like reaction to the wave and movement, and almost moving without that kind of cognitive thought. But then at certain moments, like the cognitive aspect of your brain kicks in and goes, I can do this, or I can do this. It's like a kind of interplay between the two. Yeah.
And having control of your fear must be the deciding factor as to, because what you're talking about is there's a little bit of instinct and there's a little bit of thought, right? But what's going to cloud all of that is fear. Yep. Like if you stand up and it's just all fear-based, then you probably don't have the ability to think that through, and your instincts probably aren't as strong. So it's interesting because we've been chatting to some child psychologists about children regulating their behaviour and when to talk to kids. And getting their emotional state regulated seems to be the key to having a good conversation. A bit like when you're on the wave, getting your body adrenaline emotions regulated would be the key to having a great ride. So how do you how do you face that fear and get all your adrenaline in check so that you can perform best on the day?
Yeah, there's multiple moments within the scope of big wave surfing where the fear kicks in, and you have to manage it at different moments in order to perform on the wave. And like to be able to regulate emotion and not succumb to the fear where it paralyzes you or stiffens you up so that you can't perform. Yeah. Like for me, the most important aspect to be able to do that is the preparation that you do months before, years before, the lead up to that moment. Like the preparation there is really like 90% of what's going to allow you to deal with it. Because you can do like cognitive techniques in the moment that can settle nerves, but you still only fall back to what your ability and skill level is that you've developed over time. You know, like so the cognitive techniques to regulate emotion are amazing, but if you haven't prepared, it won't matter. And it's the same with public speaking. If you can walk up on stage, I can do deep breathing techniques before I walk up onto a stage and I'll feel settled. And then as I walk out to the stage, the nerves will come back. I can kind of settle them, but my ability to perform as a public speaker and kind of entertain an audience, it won't matter how relaxed I am if I don't have the skill and I haven't done the preparation. So I feel like often like people get real caught up in too much of the cognitive techniques to manage emotion, and they skip the step of building skills to you know, that help you within your environment. But you still use both, you know. And in surfing, like the moments of fear that I felt like through my career that were really imperative to manage were in the lead up. So like 5 days out from surfing, I would see a big swell, like it'd pop up on the charts, and then I'd be like, yes, in 5 days we're surfing massive waves that could kill me. And from this time I see that weather forecast, it's like a TV goes off in the back of my head, and that TV will play out every way I could die 5 days from now. And it will play and play and play over and over again in my head. And if I sit in that 5 days, day in, day out, through the nights, and I let myself watch that TV in all the different ways I'm going to wipe out, by the time I get there, my body actually feels like physically like it's been through 1,000 wipeouts before I even put a foot in the water. Like I'm exhausted, like stressed, like it feels like I've got the flu, like I'm run down, because it's like that focus on that nervous thoughts is having like an emotional reaction and then a physical response. My body has the physical response. So that's what I learned initially, was like learn to manage that lead up. So at least when you turn up on the day, you're physically healthy. You've got energy to take on what you're about to do, even though in that moment you're still going to be scared. No matter what, you're going to be somewhat scared, but at least you don't, I wasn't run down and sick because of the stress in the lead up. And that's the same for kids leading into exams, leading into, they have to do a talk in front of the classroom, or leading into a big moment in their school sports or whatever it is. Like learning to not get caught up in that train of thought, you know, like that mental chatter if it's negative.
So how did you do that? Like, how did you manage to get a grip on that?
I tried like everything under the sun, like the meditation, just like all different types of like cognitive techniques. What I found in the end, like cognitive reframing of the thoughts, trying to think positively, all of that sort of stuff. What I found most beneficial is, one, I would go like, here's all the ways my brain's telling me I might die. Okay, so then I'm like, okay, I'm going to prepare as well as I can so that doesn't happen. But even if it does happen, I'm going to have a process in place for when that goes wrong. And if I had that process thought out, then the thoughts would settle a bit, you know, because I'm going to do what I can to prepare to not let it happen. But then even if it does happen, I know exactly what myself and my team are going to do, you know. So that helped alleviate it. And then from that point, that you've done as much preparation as you can. If there's still the chatter there, I just need to distract. Like I need a hobby, some sort of hobby that can hold my attention, and I can do that and give myself a break from thinking about it. Like I could play golf during the day. Like these days I could sit and listen to a podcast, or I could sit down and just do some drawing. Like anything that could hold my attention was interesting enough. It wasn't physically taxing, but it would give my brain a break from being nervous. You know, that I found that probably the most valuable part. And then I'd turn up on the day and I'd be nervous and scared, but at least I wasn't physically drained. And then I'd be in a much better state to deal with the in the moment fears, you know, like, and they're like, you like the different points are right before you jump off the boat or jump off the rocks to paddle out and surf huge waves. Like you'll prepare by first conditioning your physical body to be able to deal with a wipeout. So it's like you got to do a really painful negative breath hold, so blow all your oxygen out and then hold your breath as long as you can until you kind of convulse, like so your body will gulp for air like that, and you really stress your body. And what supposedly happens is then your spleen lets out oxygen-rich blood that flows all around your body.
Wow.
And then the next breath hold, you'll be able to do it like 5 times as long comfortably.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's like, so you're doing that preparation so you don't feel like that on the first wipeout. So the first wipe you had, you're ready.
Yeah,
you know, like
you've prepped yourself.
I prepped. So you physically...
And who teaches you things like that? Older surfers?
Free divers,
Free
divers are the best to train with. They take you through all that stuff. You learn all the sensations of a long breath hold, like when you should start to be scared versus like you'll feel the pain a third of the way into a breath hold. And you'll start like you want to panic at that moment, but they teach you, no, that's just pain. It's just carbon dioxide building up. You're not out of breath. You got to like relax in the pain, and you can go for another 2/3 amount of time comfortably. But if you panic there when you feel the pain and you stress, you'll burn straight through your oxygen. So it's like, but that's then it's training it underwater over and over again, because you won't be able to just cognitively do that.
There's
in the
knowledge,
moment.
and then there's the ability to apply.
Drilling it, you know, like drilling it into your brain. And then like right in the moment, once I've done the prep, everything like that, then breathing techniques are quite powerful. Like I can do, I'll always sit in the water and I see a big set coming and I know I've got about a minute or so before it comes, and I'll just do 2 or 3 like double inhales, big ones, and then just like force a long exhale. And you kind of like, you're creating a sigh, and a sigh settles your nervous system down, because it's what you naturally do when something scares you and then the danger goes away. You see it in little kids and babies, like the danger goes away and they go, and their nervous system settles. So you kind of like...
So you're sort of tricking your body into...
you're circumventing it. You're doing it in the different order, and it forces a little settle, and then that kind of gets me thinking straight, and then,
off you go. Wow.
There's heaps of other little things that I learned over the years, but they're kind of the big main ones.
So breath work is important.
Breath work's really good. Drilling skills, getting knowledge and preparation is the be-all and end-all, basically, and then the breath works, the cognitive behavioral therapy techniques that you can use are good add-ons to that. But if you don't do
you got to do the work first.
You got to do the work. That's the part that I think, and often the work's hard and nerve-wracking itself. So everyone will always be like, and I did this with speaking. It's like, I'll just it's like a head in the sand approach. It's like, I'll be all right, because I don't want to face the fear in the moment, in the lead up, and start practicing. It's like, I'll be all right, I'll just do it. But it never works out ever. You know, like you got to force yourself, and that's like recreating an environment that stresses you, like as close as you can, and then train in it. Like we do it surfing. It's with a free diver. We'll go into a deep water pool below the Olympic diving boards. It's like 5 meters deep, swim to the bottom, and then the free divers basically tried to hold me down there and drown me, and I got to get to the top. So we wrestle, like exactly what you would like with a wave. Go through all the like uncomfortable experiences, and you get to the top, and you do it over and over again. And then it's like prepped into your brain to not panic in those moments. And that's the same with speaking. It's like if you got a talk to deliver, you got a video, like record and review. That's what they call it. And to me, that feels like drowning, because I'm like you don't like speaking is the worst. But you record yourself, watch it back, and like it's so awkward, but you'll pick up what you need to change, or you get an expert to review it, and then you do it again, and then you do it again, and then you do it again, and then you do it again. And then when you go to do your presentation, you'll be prepped. That'll give you the best chance. Then you can use the breathing techniques in the moment.
So when you went to do that big wave in Tassie, the first one for the sponsor, you wouldn't have known a lot of this, right?
No.
So on that particular day, how did you surf well that day, and what do you put that down to? Just the need to surf well?
Yeah, I think that the situation and the kind of, not unnatural, but the excessive motivation that I had in that moment. Also, I had two amazing surfers, Drew Courtney and Kieran Perot, who were amazing big wave surfers around me. So that set my framing of what was possible, you know, the people that you surround yourself with make or break it. And then, that drive to want to be successful and have the career. And that pushed me way outside my comfort zone. So it's creating an environment of motivation that helps you step outside your comfort zone. So then you figure out like what you are capable of, you know. But I was an absolute wreck for 10 days after that, like exhausted, like because not being able to manage the fear in the lead up on the day, and then just not learning how to switch off after a stressful event, so I can rest. And so I'd be a wreck like for 10 days. And if I have to jump on another flight to another swell and then do it again, what ends up happening is injury, like bad wipeout, injury, forced rest then for 6 months, you know, because I'm burnt out.
Sure. You talked about surfing with quality guys and the difference that makes. In the rest of your life, or it can be in surfing, doesn't really matter, but who are the people in your life that have made it possible for you to be who you are?
First, my parents, like for sure, my mum and dad were like the biggest influence on my life. Like as far as their trust in me, confidence in me, the right amount of push, the right amount of let me do it myself, and their excitement for what I did. You know,
and,
like
sorry, you're an only child, or have you got other?
No, I've got a sister as well.
She older or younger? Older sister.
Older,
so you were the first boy, second child.
First boy, second child. Yeah.
Okay, and they.
My sister got the brains. Like she was super smart. I didn't get the brains.
That's gold. All right, but they had a good balance with you about what they let you do and how much love they gave you.
Yeah, and it was like, because my dad was my hero, right? Like absolute hero, and he loved surfing. Like that was his love in life. Like And so it was like, I think I fell in love with surfing just because of that. And then I would know, like every time I'd surf, I'd overhear him talking to his mates about what I did in the surf. So it was just like that.
Yeah.
It was a dry, like, because he wasn't around because he worked so hard as a surgeon. Like I wasn't seeing him much, but it was like, so I was probably always trying to impress him even more, you know, and that gives you that leg up drive, motivation to be good at something until you fall in love with it. And then it becomes your passion, you know, like, yeah.
So mum and dad were a huge influence.
Yeah. And then I grew up in the south of Sydney, in the eastern suburbs, at a beach called Maroubra Beach. And when I was growing up there was a surfer there, Kobe Abernon, he was like 5-6 years older than me. And he had just kind of transitioned from professional competitive surfing into the world of big wave surfing.
Okay.
And he was like, there were periods in his career where he was the best on the planet at surfing big waves. So his like insight, influence, how to deal with the industry, the waves, everything, like that was life-changing for me.
So that was a bit of right place, right time for you, because if he was the best in the world and he was a Maroubra boy, I'm guessing, and you just happened to be there, so that was a stroke of good luck, I guess, for you.
Yeah, massively good luck.
Yeah, that's amazing. And what do you think it was, like you said that when you went down to Tassie for that first trip, you were with a couple of guns, but why did Trax pick you out to go as the third surfer? Do you know?
I think Kobe was the third surfer. He was on the trip, but he ended up leaving to surf another swell because it didn't look like it was going to be that good. But they had basically wanted...
So he helped you out again in that situation.
They basically wanted all these other surfers, but no one actually wanted to go surf the wave. So it was like... they went through the whole list, and my name's down here on the bottom of the list. I was like a no one at the time, and then Kobe's in there. He's like, just bring him along. But thankfully, like all the other top surfers, because they're competing, you know, they don't want to get injured while they're surfing, you know, like. Thankfully, they all turned it down, and then I kind of didn't have the chance to turn it down. I was like,
so make the most of your opportunities, hey? Yeah, that's so cool. A lot of our audience is obviously parents with primary school kids, and hopefully primary school kids are listening as well. Do you have any advice that you'd share to a primary school kid about surfing or life in general, or facing their fears?
Just because at a point in your life, your things, like you might be the one who's more scared than everyone else at something, or you're not the best at it in that moment, that doesn't have to shape your decision whether or not you want to do that thing, or you can actually be good at that thing, because your ability to like learn things, if you learn consistently over a long period of time, how good you can get at something, or how confident you can get at something that scares you now. Like if you learn a little bit and get better a little bit each day, I guarantee you people can't even fathom how successful they can be at something at this point. You know, like you can't even imagine how successful you can be if you keep that consistency and continuously, little by little, develop like skills and just get a little bit better like that. I swear kids, you can't even imagine how good you can get, because often you see kids, it's like, oh, I'm not that good at that, I can't do that, that kid learns way faster than me, or he's way better at it, like I'm not naturally like that. Like don't give up at that point. That's what I would say. Yeah,
that's amazing. That's really good advice. Another question about your mum. I saw on a YouTube video I watched that you wanted to buy your mum a house. So she must mean a great deal to you. Like for you to make a statement like that, can we talk a bit more about your mum and about what she's done to deserve such a high... I mean, we all love our mums, but we're not all, you know, geared up to buy them houses and come back from injury to do that. So what does your mum mean to you?
Oh, she's just everything. I mean, like, just constant loving support no matter what. You know, and that's just like, I grew up around kids that grew up in housing commissions that had terrible home lives, like drug addicted parents or non-existent parents or parents in jail. And like what that does to their psyche is it makes life so difficult. Like, so it just highlighted to me how lucky I was to have amazing parents. And especially like my mum was just always there for me. Like, and she's one of these people, she's a very spiritual person and taught me a lot about managing, like all the meditation, the yoga teacher. She lived in ashrams around the world. Like she introduced me into the world of like the mind and consciousness and spiritual aspects around being and happiness and managing emotion. And I learned so much from that. Yeah.
And how much does gratitude play a part? Like I can only imagine that you would have seen a fair bit of injury in your career. I think the point that I'm trying to make is you must have seen a lot of ups and downs, and a lot of people get supported and a lot of people that maybe didn't get the support that they wanted. But at the end of the day, we got to be grateful for the opportunities that we have. And you've come out of it seemingly all in one piece, although I do see a few scars. So how grateful do we have to be for the opportunities that we have? You seem to be making the most of them, and I'm sure you've got thoughts on that.
I think like the emotional state of gratitude is, and the science shows this, it's like what it does for your nervous system and the way you function and your overall health and ability to have energy and your perspective on life is insane. Like it's one of the greatest, if you would say, like you could term it as a performance hack or insight. If you learn to access the emotional state of gratitude, it can be a game changer in every aspect of your life, whether it's to do with your career, sports, with your relationships, anything. Like for me, it was so cemented when I had basically a career-ending injury. I dislocated my knee after hitting a reef back in 2016, and it tore through the artery in my leg, the major nerves. Now I can't move my foot at all. It doesn't work. I was told I wouldn't surf again because my foot would never work again. And I was like in a dark hole after I got that news. Like my whole earnings, everything was finished. And I was really lucky. By chance, few different things lined up. I met a young kid who was in hospital, the same hospital as me. He was a fan of my surfing, like watched me growing up and wanted to come up and meet me, get a photo. And he comes into my room one afternoon when I was just like down and out and miserable. He gets wheeled into my room by his brother. Like he had just broken his neck snowboarding, like quadriplegic at 19 years old, like wheeled up to my bedside. And it's like that confronting moment, like even though it's like natural and normal to get down about your situation, it's not trying to like, you don't need anyone else to belittle what you're going through because life's tough. But me seeing that, it completely in that moment shifted my perspective around what I was going through. Like, and straight away I was like, how lucky am I that this is what I'm going through? And then I would constantly, like after meeting him, be like, when I was in like the bad moments, I couldn't sleep, my nerve pain was driving me mental. All I'd have to do was imagine like, man, that kid would give anything to only have to go through what you're going through. At the drop of a hat, he would give anything to just deal with this. He'd be the happiest person alive to only have your injury. Yeah. And so, because I'm not naturally really optimistic person, I find it quite hard. I'm quite more neurotic. On the neurotic scale, my brain sees problems. It doesn't see like gratitude, like the luck naturally. But I learned from that moment because it made such an impact on me to consistently access it, you know, like, and it got me out of that whole injury, got me back to surfing. I still don't surf the same. My foot's doesn't move at all. I probably surf at like 60% of what I did before. Yeah. But from thinking I would never surf again to being able to surf, it has changed my life. And the ability to access that on cue when I need to it's such a life hack. And there's lots of ways to do it, lots of different techniques. All you have to do is Google gratitude practice. And then you got to just try the different techniques out. One of the ones that I came across that was, for me, way better than the others, kind of had this like had this unintended benefit. Like I was like, this is a cool technique. It's valuable for me, like in a kind of selfish way. But the technique is it's called a gratitude text. So it's basically, I'm going to write a text message of gratitude and send it to someone in my life. You know? And what the studies show, the science shows is, if you sit down and write a message of gratitude, like anything along the lines of, hey, this is kind of random, but I was just thinking I'm pretty lucky to have you in my life. And I just wanted to reach out and say thank you for everything you've been doing for me. I really appreciate it. So as you write that text, like your nervous system switches from stress sympathetic state into what they call a parasympathetic state because of that emotional response, like a great gratitude emotional response. And basically in the parasympathetic state, your bunch of different systems in your body get optimized, in particular like your immune system does, because it kind of settles all your nerves. Like it makes you focus on what's good rather than all the things that are wrong, you know, like it just relieves the stress and then your body can work better.
Yeah.
And then
so you send a lot of text messages.
Well, yeah, and then
the more you send, the better you feel, right?
The unintended benefit is like the person that you send the message to,
they're feeling great as well.
Well, they have twice as strong a response.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And then people who witness gratitude being sent around, they have a response too.
Yeah.
And I swear, if I tell people this in my talks all the time, try sending one text message a week for a year to people. Yeah. And I swear it's life-changing. Yeah, I can because it changes all your relationships, you know. Like, and like you're saying before, the people around you affect your life more than anything else. Affect your trajectory to success, your happiness, everything. Yeah. So if you're doing that and optimizing all the different relationships in your life, like there's probably not a more powerful thing that you can do.
I agree 100%. Yeah. I was having a chat recently with a bloke, and we were saying that. Most deathbed conversations, they just end up around the same basic topics, which is basically either like, I love you, I forgive you, do you forgive me, or thank you. And we shouldn't wait. Like, because there's no chance you're going to get, like, there's not every chance. I think
about funerals. Like, I hate funerals. Yeah. I hate appreciation posts after funerals. Like, tell the person while they're alive how amazing you think they are. Like.
Yeah, 100%. And so I think that practice that you're in of sending the gratitude text is fantastic, because we know the people in our lives that we're grateful for, and that doesn't mean that we always express our gratitude.
No, and especially to the people closest to you.
And I was about to say that because sometimes when it comes to families, sometimes I don't know why, just part of the human condition. You sometimes hold back a little bit.
Yeah, well, you feel awkward, like it's that person's so special to you that it's confronting to like express that emotion. You don't know how they're going to respond. Like it's nerve-wracking to be that open and vulnerable to people. Like,
so
you'll see it. Like, I get people to send the text messages in my talk. And they'll get weird responses, but I'm like, that's all right. Like, I guarantee you, no matter how weird the response is, they appreciate it. Like, they'll get a response like, say they send it to their kids or something. Their kids are like, wait, Dad, are you dying or something? Like, why are you sending me this message? But I promise you, like, they appreciate it.
Yeah, I love that. So stay connected. And making it an intentional thing means it's going to happen. Yeah. I like that. I really like it.
I mean, a text message is a cool way to do it, but it can be any way. Like you could just buy a small gift to someone just like that you work with and just go, hey, here's a coffee. You've been a legend. Yeah. Appreciate it.
Years ago, we made a kickoff video for School Fun Run, and we had these two young girls that were modelling in the video, and I took them into Lululemon to buy outfits for the video, and their parents had taught them to pre-make all these cards of gratitude and just telling people like that they hope they have a great day, or just nice little things. Anyway, we walked in there and it was busy. It was around Christmas time, and because we were getting ready for the next school year, and Lululemon was flat out. And they probably had 7 people serving. And I'm not kidding you, within 10 minutes of us walking into the store, nobody was serving anybody. These kids had all 7 staff in the change room for a group photo because they'd given them all these cards, and literally people just left the cash registers to come and take part in this group photo. Yeah. But that's how powerful saying something nice can be. And that was
people working in there would just, it's such a nice thing.
And they were strangers. These people weren't, you're talking about texting friends and family. These were just strangers that responded to that level of appreciation for what they're doing. Yeah. So it's crazy the difference that stuff can make in the world.
And it might feel like people could feel contrived to begin with, but if it feels weird and awkward when you're first doing it, it just means you should do it probably a little more,
It's good. It's good.
Because it's hard. Because I did a competition within my keynotes a couple of years ago where I gave because I was trying to get people to send as many as you can. It's hard to get people to do it. But so what I did is have I gave away a family holiday to Hawaii, and all you had to do to enter to win was send a text message and screenshot it and show me that you sent it. That was the email it into me, and then you're in the draw to win a family holiday to Hawaii. Yeah. And so I could get usually about 70% of the audience to do it. And there was 15,000 text messages sent in that year, but I had 3 people within that 15,000 come back to me and show me the reply they got. And when that person got sent the text message, they were in a suicidal state when they got the message, and it fully saved their life. Wow. Which is crazy. Yeah. They had just sent a message to a friend that they hadn't seen for a year because they got busy with their kids and stuff, but they just wanted to reach out. Yeah. Say, hey, see how you're going, you mean a lot to me, and it saved the person's life. It's crazy.
That's a great. I was actually going to ask you if you had a practical example of that making a difference, and there it is.
I get them all the time. Yeah. And then people's relationships, with your partner or your kids, parents. It's a powerful technique.
That's so cool. Yeah. All right, cool. Is there any part of your story that you don't get to tell, and you wish that you could tell it more? Because this is a pretty open chat, so if there's not, that's fine, but if there is, I'd love to hear about it.
I feel like for young kids, that example that I was explaining of how you can get good at things, for me, that's public speaking. I couldn't read from a book in front of a classroom. I was so nervous to do that, to be standing in front of people. I would stutter. I didn't actually learn to speak in front of an audience till I was 30. I'd avoided it my whole school life, all the way up until then. But now I can become, make a career, and I've made more money out of speaking within 2 years than I did my entire surfing career. Yeah. So that's what I mean by saying there's career paths or things that you think you can't do, but you would be surprised if you just put in a little bit of consistent effort. It's such a, if you can drill that into kids, and also when they're doing these new things, to spend less time comparing yourself to the people around you and the other kids, and just notice yourself and even write it down how much better you got day to day or week to week. And so you see these tiny amounts of progress, and then that highlighted progress gives you the motivation just to keep doing it and keep doing it. And then you could start out as the worst at something, and in 10 years from now, you will not know yourself. That could be life-changing, that one kind of skill development. That's when I speak to young kids, it's I wish I knew that when I was young, I wish.
I love it. Well, I reckon we should leave the chat there, because I can't think of a better, that's great advice to give to kids. So if we keep talking, then they might not remember that bit. Yeah. So let's leave it there. And thank you so much for spending time with us today. It's been a great chat, and it's full of great advice. So I hope everybody enjoys listening to it.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to today's episode of the Legacy Collective podcast. Copyright by School Fun Run. Today's episode was brought to you by Funzy. You can find out more at funzy.com.au. And if you'd like to access other podcasts, we produce one called Chase the Fun, It's narrated by Chase the Cheetah, and it's made specifically for kids in primary school to help them develop characters to become the best human beings they can be. See you in the next episode.